Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to master an absolutely crucial concept for your real estate exam prep: fixtures. If you've ever found yourself wondering, what exactly stays and what packs up and goes when a property is sold, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to break the whole shebang down simply and clearly, so you can walk into that exam and confidently tackle this topic. Now, really quick before we get moving, just a little housekeeping. Please note that this explainer is strictly for educational exam prep support. It's a no-hype tool, meaning we don't guarantee specific exam questions, passing results, or licensing outcomes. Licensing rules, specific terminology, and what the exam emphasizes can and totally will vary by state. So always make sure to double-check your state's official licensing requirements and their approved study materials. All right, so here's our roadmap for today. We're keeping it efficient with absolutely no fluff. Section 1, defining real estate fixtures. Section 2, the 4 fixture tests. And finally, Section 3, a practice question and answer so we can see what you've learned. Let's get right into it with Section 1, defining real estate fixtures. Okay, so here is the golden rule. A fixture is personal property that becomes real property because it's attached or adapted to the property. It's a really simple sentence, right? But it literally holds the key to this entire concept. The main issue we're always trying to figure out here is intention. Is an item intended to stay with the property, meaning it's made that big transition into being part of the real estate, or is it meant to be removed? Let's see how this builds practically in the real world. Imagine you're unlocking the front door of a home you just bought. You naturally expect certain things to just be there, right? You're looking for the built-in cabinets, the ceiling fans, light fixtures, built-in bookshelves, plumbing fixtures, the installed heating or cooling equipment, and of course that permanently installed dishwasher. Think about what all these things have in common. They are physically integrated into the home. When you buy a house, you safely assume these items have officially transitioned from personal property to real property. Now, let's totally flip the script and contrast those permanent items with things like a sofa, a dining table, a freestanding lamp, an area rug, a stock of moving boxes, or a freestanding microwave. These are movable, right? They remain personal property. You definitely wouldn't expect the seller to leave their moving boxes or their favorite comfy sofa behind unless you somehow specifically negotiated for that. But here's the catch. Sometimes the line between what stays and what goes can get really blurry, and that sets up the need for a highly reliable testing framework. Which brings us right to Section 2, the 4 fixture tests. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it gives you the exact checklist professionals use to evaluate if an item has become a fixture. It's a concrete 4-step framework. Number 1, attachment. Like, is the item actually physically attached to the property? 2, adaptation. Is the item specially adapted to the property? Think along the lines of custom-cut window blinds. 3, intention. Did the owner actually intend for the item to be permanent? And 4, agreement. Did the real estate contract specifically say whether the item stays or goes? Honestly, the agreement between the buyer and seller is almost always the ultimate deciding factor. To help you anchor this in your mind for maximum retention during your exam, here is a fantastic little memory trick. Ready? If it is attached, adapted, or intended to stay, think fixture. Seriously, just repeating that specific phrase to yourself, attached, adapted, or intended to stay, is going to help you so much when you need to quickly evaluate tricky items on your test. Let's put that memory trick to the test, shall we? Compare a ceiling fan installed into the ceiling versus just a standing floor fan. And this brilliantly illustrates our whole point. The ceiling fan is physically attached to the electrical box. It's screwed directly into the ceiling structure itself. It's a fixture. It's real property. But the standing floor fan, it just plugs into the wall. You can unplug it, pick it up, and walk away with it. It's highly movable, making it completely personal property. Now, I really want to highlight a major pitfall you might encounter in your studies so you don't get tricked. A super common mistake is thinking that every single appliance is automatically a fixture. Do not fall for this trap. A freestanding microwave or a regular plug-in refrigerator might just be personal property. Actually, scratch that. A better question to ask yourself is it installed, attached, adapted, or explicitly written into the agreement? Always fall back on those 4 tests rather than just assuming all appliances stay. All right, let's shift gears and apply what we've learned. Section 3, practice question and answer. Okay, here is an educational practice question, phrased exactly like something you might see on test day. Which item is most likely a fixture? A, a floor lamp. B, a ceiling fan installed into the ceiling. C, a sofa. Or D, a moving box? I'll give you a quick second, lock in your guess. And the correct answer is B, a ceiling fan installed into the ceiling. So the crucial point is really the rationale here. The ceiling fan is physically attached to the property, which officially makes it part of the real estate. If we look at the other options, the floor lamp, the sofa, the moving backs, those are all completely movable items, which means they remain personal property. Simple as that. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, kind of provocative thought exercise. If you were writing a real estate contract today, what vague item would you specifically list in the agreement just to totally avoid a fixture dispute? Think about it. Maybe a ridiculously expensive dining room chandelier, or perhaps a giant custom garden statue. The absolute best way to avoid confusion is always a clear, written agreement between the parties. And hey, just a quick final reminder, this has been an educational overview to support your prep. Always check your state's official licensing requirements and approved study materials for the definitive word. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep up the absolutely fantastic work with your studies.